Dezmon here, your startup advisor and partner in entrepreneurship. The place and the ground where I'm standing is where 1.2 billion people all across the world call the religious center of the universe. Welcome to the Vatican. Now, many of you probably don't even know this. The Vatican is actually the smallest country in the entire world. It's about 2 square miles and there's about 1,000 people that actually live here. I'm actually standing right in the middle of St. Peter's Square, where a lot of people congregate and come together and fellowship, etc. when there's major announcements going on with the Catholic Church. Now, just briefly before I get into the rest of my spill about how cool the Vatican is and some things that you didn't know, I want to show you this here is actually St. Peter's Basilica. It's one of the most important cathedrals and churches in all of the Catholic Church. The first Pope and Bishop of Rome is actually buried here, as well as one of the 12 apostles of Jesus, Peter. So it's very interesting. Now, right behind St. Peter's Basilica is the Sistine Chapel. In the Sistine Chapel, it's used for a variety of purposes, but primarily us back in the States know it as a place where Michelangelo, one of the greatest artists who have ever lived, painted some of his greatest works on the ceiling and also on the walls. Another thing I actually found out about that room is that that's where the cardinals actually meet to decide who the next pope is actually going to be. Now, what's interesting also about the security of the Vatican, since it's so small, you'd wonder, okay, well, does it have a military? Does it have an army? Well, it actually does, and that army is called the Swiss Guard. There's actually 134 men that are Swiss nationals between 19 to 30 years old. They have military training, and they have to be at least 5'9", and they have to be Catholics. Look it up online, the Swiss Guard, and they actually dress in very formal military attire, and their military attire is actually the heaviest on record for the entire world, coming in at about 8 pounds. Could you imagine standing 12, 13 hours a day or marching or protecting somebody in 8 pounds of gear, regardless of if it's cold or hot? I couldn't, but these guys are extremely dedicated. Now, you may be wondering, why would the Vatican choose the Swiss Guard? Well, the research that I uncovered was that back in the old days, there was a lot of confidential information that needed to be protected, and the clergy and the Pope, they needed to be protected, but also they did not need anyone that was protecting them to disseminate private and confidential information out to the rest of the world. So what they did is they went and got Swiss soldiers, right, from the Swiss Guard, brought them into, basically imported them in from Switzerland, and now they're the ones who actually protect the Pope. And the thing at that time was they didn't speak the language, so they could be in the room while all of these controversial or all of these important announcements were being made in the church and in other areas where the Pope and the clergy actually were going. So that was very interesting information. I actually got to stand next to one of these guys, and they're serious. I wouldn't want to mess with them. Now, in terms of the Vatican economy, it does about $455 million or so per year, and primarily the revenue is generated through postage stamps, admission fees to places like the Sistine Chapel, as well as the sale of publications all across the world. So, there's so many things I could tell you about the Vatican. These are just a couple things I've learned the last couple days when I was here, but I hope you can come to Rome, Italy to actually take a look, see what it's about all for yourself, and I encourage you to travel all across the world and make sure you see the things that you're supposed to see while you're on this planet. My name is Dezmon. This is Going Global from the Vatican City. Later.